Oxford, Massachusetts, and 3 neighboring towns have a reason for concern as mosquitoes carrying a potentially deadly virus called Eastern Equine Encephalitis, or Triple E, infected a resident who is now fighting for his life.
We don't want to see another human case of Triple E this year.
The rare but dangerous disease can cause swelling in the brain. There's no treatment and anyone can get infected. The death rate is as high as 30%.
Even if you do survive, usually there are long-term significant health impacts, neurological impacts.
Oxford has been declared a critical risk for Triple E, prompting health department officials to recommend a 6 p.m. curfew for outdoor activities, including club sports.
These are recommendations. They're not hard and stop requirements.
What do you notice about that?
Sarah Fournier is also worried her children.
What do you notice about that, council? It is filled with awfuls. Awfuls. Hey, folks, welcome to News from the Pew. It's the internet. It's the internet, and we talk about stuff. I am the guy in the lead chair, I guess. I don't know. Whatever. Rick Barrett, I'm Catholic. You can find me at thearmedcatholic.com, first-class firearm training with a foundation of Catholic tradition, because the two are compatible. And to my left, right, this guy over here. There. That guy, the godfather of Catholic YouTube, the one, the only, Stephen Cunningham, the founder of everything Sensus Fidelius, apps, books, websites, and more. You should check it out. Sensusfidelium.com. 100% Catholic all the time. No compromises. What?
Sensusfidelium, the lunchbox, the action figures.
Sensusfidelium, not brave, though. The kids love this one.
The kids love
it. Yes. That's right, Lou. Slow week. Not a lot to talk about. So what are we going to do? I guess we'll talk first.
That opening one, that's a legit news story. There's killer mosquitoes up in...
Triple E's been a thing in New England for years. Years. Every year they talk about Triple E. But now the council of crazy white women have taken over one Massachusetts town. So nobody's going to have any fun up there. So congratulations. Enjoy your pumpkin spice lattes while you're locked down.
I'll give away a free Rick Barrett autograph book. You didn't know I was going to give away your book. If anybody can name, how do you get rid of mosquitoes naturally?
I know. I'll just give it to myself. You do it with dragonflies.
Yes, dragonfly. And what the funny thing is, the people that spray the stuff to kill mosquitoes, that stuff really just kills dragonflies.
Dragonflies are pretty awesome too.
Oh yeah, I have dragonflies all over. I got homes perched up for them. I love those guys. Before I came in, I checked out back. There was a dragonfly on the bamboo stick, and we have no mosquitoes. I walk around there all day and never get bitten by. No one has any bites. We go to friends' houses. There's mosquitoes everywhere. Go here, and we got an army of dragonflies back here.
So can you buy like dragonflies at the pet shop?
No, all right. So you need a water source, right? So you make like a little pond. We have an actual some man-made. It might be like a sewer pond. I don't know. The neighbors say don't eat the fish. But there's a pond here. There's a couple ponds around, and the lake Wiley is about a mile and a half, maybe a mile away. So it's kind of like a marshy land, anyways. So we got that, and on top of that, you can get. Maybe you can make a little water unit or whatever in there, but put something that they like lily pads, horsetail plants. You can go online and see what the dragonflies like to eat and what plants will drive them in. So they're smelling, come in. Plus, if there's a good food source like mosquitoes, they'll come in anyways. Millennial Gardener has a channel, and he has a video of bringing in dragonflies. He goes through that for about 15-20 minutes, because he had that mosquito problem back, and then he went to dragonflies. And you just put bamboo sticks up and they'll sit on them. They'll love to come on, like rocks too. So it's how to treat mosquito bites. Phoebe asked about mosquito bites. So there's a couple good ones. Bee balm works naturally. It's a weed. Or you can get that stuff that was on Shark Tank. You can probably go to a 7-Eleven or Dollar General, which has lost a ton of money in the last. How did you see that? Their stock would.
We'll talk about we'll mention that too.
But they have this little thing. You stick it on the bite, and you pull up, and it apparently takes all the stuff out of it. It's like an instant relief. But if you have dragonflies around, killer mosquitoes won't do anything to you.
Really? Well, you can always get, I think, is it King's foil? King's foil. It's a weed. It'll help with poison as well. But
yeah, there's quite a few.
Dude, King's foil is from Lord of the Rings. It's from Lord of the Rings.
Lowe's. Lowe's has these. What I can't remember what plant it is, but it's supposed to be a mosquito repellent, natural.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you just have a couple of mosquito dragonflies in the back, and you can kiss the mosquitoes goodbye.
Yeah, there'd be like Mothra taking out your mosquitoes, getting big and fat on it. They should flourish around here because we have mosquitoes everywhere. Anyway, yeah.
You probably just need a water source.
I have. Well, when it rains, I have a water source. There's a little mini creek pops up because of the topography, ladies and gentlemen, of my.
You could probably make a makeshift pond. Get some stones, make a pond type deal. I'll show you a link that has all the stuff you can get, like literally a lily pad. You just you can order a lily pad on Amazon. You plant it in the bottom, it will grow a flower, and they'll come to that pad.
Interesting.
And the horsetail, they use it to, I think it helps feed their young.
Do y'all know that Steve has a homesteading channel that he's starting to spring up?
A rent steading channel.
Yeah. So all this and more can be found there.
I kind of like this. This is kind of cool. I mean, those gummies, those gum trees, the little sticks on there, because that you can use that for thermoflu. That's where they get thermoflu from. So if you can make a concoction out of that, helps in cough, cold, flu. There's those little gumdrops that people just use and throw or make decorations with. It's actually medicinal.
Really? Yeah, of course. So Americans use it as decorations.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's not great. It's just kind of funny.
Anyway, let's get to the bad stuff. No one cares about this good stuff.
I mean, it's good stuff. It's all good stuff. It is, because it's actually natural solutions, and the way things are going, you're going to have to invest more in natural solutions than anything else. But this week, we'll start politically. At the end of last week, we were talking about it. We mentioned that RFK could possibly be joining the ticket with Donnie T. And Lord and behold, it happened on Friday. He made a hour-long speech Friday afternoon, and then Friday evening he came out WWE style to a Trump rally. And if we have any videos on that, we'll take a look at it right now to catch y'all up. Do we have any videos on that, or is that going to get copyrighted because of the Foo Fighters?
It's copyrighted. Foo Fighters would bring you down on that unless you're at the news source.
All right, so he comes out. I'm sure you've all seen it. He comes out to sparklers and all these other kinds of stuff, and then RFK, he's starting to make the rounds. He's trying to take his name off the ballots in 10 states, the 10 swing states, but Michigan and Wisconsin won't let him do it. And he's continuing to now he's going to actively campaign with Trump. And he let it slip on Tucker, I believe, that Trump asked him to be his VP, and he was like, "Nah, I'm not going to do it." So JD Vance is like, "Wah wah, I guess I wasn't good enough." But that's neither here nor there. But not only that, ladies and gentlemen, they have another lib, anti-gunner Tulsi Gabbard is now has decided to back the Trump train. So, and Trump has announced that both of those people will be part of his transition team. So if you thought Donnie T was ultimately the ultra MAGA conservative, you guys are getting moderate Democratic policies from 1988 into the White House when Trump is selected in November. Makes you kind of wonder, Steve, how they're going to, why would they let Trump in? Well, he's bringing a bunch of libs with him now at this point. So it looks like the ultra right conservative stuff might get lost in the weeds.
It's really weird. The guy that's gone after the jab for a long time is now siding up with the father of the jab. I don't get it. Well, here's a video someone made of the before last Friday and after last Friday. The how would you say contradictions that went down?
left no doubt that neither President Trump nor President Biden is prepared to unify our nation. In fact, their rhetoric and their actions will only divide us further. I've made the heart-wrenching decision to suspend my campaign and to support President Trump. If an establishment Democrat wins, or if Donald Trump wins, the cold civil war is only going to intensify. We're going to get more of the same, more division, more poverty, more debt, and all of these crises will only accelerate. Don't you want a president who's going to get us out of the wars and who's going to rebuild the middle class in this country?
I can hear Rick saying thank you.
He put a Goldman guy in charge of the Treasury Department,
Politics,
an Exxon
baby.
CEO in charge of State Department, a pharma president in charge of HHS, a Verizon lobbyist in charge of the FCC. Don't you want the regulatory agencies to be free from corporate corruption? And that's what President Trump told me that he wanted. Coal and oil lobbyists to run EPA and the Department of Interior, respectively. A big ag robber baron as the head of the Department of Agriculture, and the neocon militarist John Bolton as National Security Advisor.
By the way, behind the news from the Pew thing, it says July 2024.
He also told me that he wanted to end the grip of the neocons on U.S. foreign policy. I'm not a fan of President Trump. I want to beat him in a campaign on a level playing field. I want to talk about his issues, about locking down the economy, shutting down 3.3 million businesses, about running up a $34 trillion debt, about engaging us in forever wars and doing favors for Wall Street. Don't you want a president who's going to get us out of the wars and who's going to rebuild the middle class in this country? His pick as vice president is a salute to the CIA and to the intelligence community and to the military-industrial complex. Their gravy train is going to continue.
Are you going to actively campaign for President Trump?
Yes, I will. I'm going to work to get him elected. He reauthorized FISA and the Patriot Act. President Trump shut down 3.3 million businesses. President Trump said that he was going to run America like a business. And he came in and he gave the keys to all of our businesses to a 50-year bureaucrat who'd never been elected to anything and had no accountability. He closed down 3.3 million businesses with no due process, no just compensation, in violation of the Fifth Amendment. With the lockdowns, the mask mandates, the travel restrictions, President Trump presided over the greatest restriction on individual liberties this country has ever known. Don't you want a president who's going to protect America's freedoms?
The father with the jab.
And
That's the guy that went
is going
after
to
the
protect
jab.
us against totalitarianism.
Politics, baby. Politics. He is a Kennedy.
He didn't stand up for the Constitution when it really mattered. He broke his promise to declassify the JFK assassination files. President Trump also...
Speaking of that, did you see that people were going nuts about that just a couple of days ago, saying, "Oh, Trump said he's going to go open up the JFK files." Did he promise that 4 years ago? And y'all forget already?
assaulted the First Amendment or failed to defend press freedom when he continued President Obama's persecution and prosecution of Julian Assange. The Trump White House also went after the Fourth Amendment prohibitions against warrantless searches and seizures with its intrusive track and trace surveillance systems that obliterated our rights to privacy in this country. Don't you want a president who's going to protect America's freedoms and who is going to protect us against totalitarianism? President Trump's beloved Operation Warp Speed shut down jury trials for any corporation that was involved in COVID countermeasures. Here's what the Seventh Amendment says: no American shall be denied the right of a trial before a jury of his peers in cases or controversies exceeding $25. There is no pandemic exception. And the waiver of the Seventh Amendment for corporations that were involved in countermeasures meant that no matter how reckless the corporation behaved, no matter how negligent it was, no matter how toxic or unnecessary the ingredients, no matter how shoddy the testing, no matter how grievous your injury, you could not sue that company. They had a ticket to make anything they want without any kind of accountability. And don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again? President Trump has told me that he wants this to be his legacy. I'm choosing to believe that this time he will follow through.
Yeah, about all that. Folks, it's politics, baby. It's politics. He is a Kennedy. It is politics. And I guess, better to be associated with the worst, the lesser quote unquote of two evils and get something done than to be completely shut out. I don't know, Steve. But that's the American superstate.
There's like you said, people saw it coming. A lot of people saw that coming. A lot of people see Elon joining in, and then like a bunch of alt media guys was talking about if the trifecta happens, was this already part of the plan? And it's just weird that the guy who, again, you got RFK who take away his environmental stuff and other things like that people don't like. He was the number
two-way
one
stance.
Huh?
His two-way stance is terrible, but continue.
He's a centralist, but I mean his idea of going after the jabs across the board and ponying up with Operation Warp Speed, the father of the big jab that is killed. There was a guy that played soccer the other day. He dropped that on the field. It's just mind blowing. It's like, wow, how'd you sell out? How much was the sellout? There's a lot of, and just looking at a lot of guys from all media was just really disappointed in. And you see even Dr. Malone, he's pretty much put all his stuff from back 4 years ago on the back burners. Yep, I'm riding and dying with DJT. You were one of the leading guys calling out all this. Now and is how easy it is for people just to sell out principles, I guess. I don't know. So it's
about beating the communists. It's about beating the communists, Steve. We can't let the commies take over or something.
Because Bellator brings up the CIA thing about declassifying JFK. They brought that up after RFK joins in. Again, that's what he said 4 years ago. And he goes, no, we're not going to do that. But it's going to be different this time, just like RFK. It's not out of the blue that he gets in, wins, takes over the seat, and then, kicks Bobby to the curb. There's no, I don't know if they signed a contract for 4 years for $3.2 million or whatever. It's like you do in a ball team, but he could be gone in a week or 2 weeks or whatever. It's just Elon could, Tulsi could, and he's just funny. It's just really, how do you marriage that? I mean, Mr. Anti-Jab, Mr. Father of the Jab. And I like when Kennedy talks about the jabs and all that, and the FDA being a part of Big Pharma being in there, he's right on the money. He's number one target. He's after that. He was great. Sheila Atkinson from 6 years ago video that he did with her. Incredible. How do you do that? And then like that video showed one thing and you complete 180. I mean, just like Lucid, they're full of it. I mean, how when a politician's lying, their mouths are moving.
Yeah. There's, the only reason, just understand this, folks. The only reason that RFK, quote unquote, ran as an independent is because they changed the entire primary process to keep him out of the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party welcomed him with open arms. He'd be running against Trump right now.
Yeah. It would be Kamala. They would. She had 800 votes in the primaries. There ain't no snowball's chance, and where that she'd be the nominee if Kennedy was in it.
Yep. No, it's actually kind of funny. They did all this work to keep Kennedy out so they could run Biden, only to drop Biden. I guess Kennedy was just a little too not in line on a couple of issues. He's not a complete puppet like, obviously Kamala is. So
his family really does not like him.
The Kennedys are losers, man. They've been losers. They've been coasting on the three that actually did anything in politics: Bobby, Ted, and JFK. The rest of them are useless. Of course, their father was,
Speaking of JFK, there was a. Did I lose you or you lose me?
I'm still here.
Speaking of JFK, before he died, I found out that maybe people don't know I did a thing on Florida, on the history of Florida, Catholicism in Florida. And the guy who wrote the book on it, that discovered the first mass that was found in St. Augustine, he had pushback from politicians, especially in D.C., telling him, you're ruining Thanksgiving because everything has to be puritanical. It's the whole Northeast Puritans running the government in a sense like that, because we have Northeast politicians. If you don't believe that, look at where everybody's from, especially running for the executive. Most of them since 1870 have been Northeast. That's it. We had Southern beforehand. You had to get the war to get rid of the Southern ideas. You have to have the centralized puritanical state afterwards. So anyways, JFK gets approached by the priest who's running St. Augustine with all this knowledge, bringing it out. And Kennedy goes, we have to make this public. Now, this isn't probably why he got shot, but 3 days later, he's shot. Just was a big coincidence that happened. Not saying that was it. There's other things that were going on with the war and Bay of Pigs and things like that. But it was just, wow, 3 days, the priest, he was going to push it out. I'm not saying that was the reason Thanksgiving killed Kennedy. I'm not saying that.
I mean, there's a lot of reasons why. A lot of people think that Kennedy's getting also a bit of a rewrite by a lot of people. Like, oh, he's the last Democrat to love America, and he was this and that. But people have this warped idea that he tried to keep us out of Vietnam when he was the guy who put advisors in Vietnam in the first place. And he would have been more than happy to ramp up the war there. He's also the guy
president there.
Huh?
We killed the Catholic president there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I was about to get to the fact of his Catholicism. He ruined Catholicism in the Northeast, the Kennedy clan, by telling people it was okay. The fact that you were a Democrat, you could be a Democrat and vote for or Catholic and vote for Democrats. Yeah. And then there's
his speech with the Baptists. That awful speech with the Baptists.
Yeah, in Houston. I was about to mention the one in Houston where he pretty much renounces his Catholic faith in order to be president, which is why everybody loves him now, right? Because he was separating church and state, which is not really the way it's supposed to be, but whatever. But yes, he's a Kennedy, back to Robert Kennedy Jr. He's a Democrat. Yeah, put him, whatever, make him the director of Health and Human Services when Trump gets elected. Great. Whoopee.
What you want to do is no more CIA, no more FBI, no more any of that. Let's not put him at the head of it. How about disband it? That's actually, isn't that what they were talking about beforehand, disbanding, or Kennedy was talking about disbanding it? Yeah, you got to disband all this stuff. That's it. I mean,
yeah,
which gets into our stories down the road. But yeah, I mean, it's a sideshow. I mean, just like you said, they brought up WWF style. Foo Fighters are making a big thing about it. It's because they used their song, and Beyonce's country song is she's upset because of that is being used, which they get paid either way. They don't.
There's a service called BMI.
Yeah.
And BMI goes to every major artist and says, hey, we want to pay you money and for the ability to license your song out. And they're all like, cool, extra money, selling out, love it. So, and this happened in 2016 and it happened in 2020 where Trump will play a song and some random artist will be like, I don't like it. He's a Hitler fascist. I don't want to play my song. And they're like, you gave the license to BMI. Trump paid the license to BMI. He can play whatever song he wants. Yep. So capitalism, right? You want to sell out. If you don't want Trump to sell your song, use your song, don't give it to BMI or a licensing service. Then, I mean, it's like the famous clip where Trump finds out Ruth Bader Ginsburg's dead. Tiny Dancer's playing in the background at the rally. Nobody's calling up Elton John and being like, "Are you letting him use your song?" No, because they realize Elton gave his songs to everybody, so he licensed it out to everybody to get money, and so they're like, "Yeah, whatever." But the Foo Fighters want to try and stand on some kind of virtue, and it's like, "Shh, you're a sellout." Shh.
Gone are the days when, like, Jordan, when they were asked about him about the GOP, he goes, "Well, Republicans wear shoes too."
Yep. No, it's actually kind of funny that they don't know if he actually said that. It just gets attributed to him.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. Yeah.
He's never said he didn't. I'll say that. He's never said he didn't. So
guys back 80s, 90s, people don't care. They care. Oh, you're promoting, you're using it. Okay, great. I'm gonna get some sales out of this.
Yeah.
Whereas
you money for it, you're gonna give me money for it. Perfectly fine. Whatever.
Well, you want. Care.
Yeah. So the Foo Fighters are a bunch of losers for doing that. But the quiet one of Tulsi now endorsing him, and everybody wants her to be the defense First of all, they need to change it from Secretary of Defense to Secretary of War, which is what it used to be called.
Yeah.
We need to change it back to that because that's what we do. We don't defend, we war.
Speaking of war, have you seen the new war ad of DJT?
Setting it up for you, Steve.
Before thousands were brutally killed, including Americans. Before Iran helped Hamas plan the attack, killing Americans. Before Biden gave billions of taxpayers' money to Iran, Trump played hardball with Iran, destroyed ISIS, kept the Middle East at peace, kept us out of endless wars through strength.
History shows very plainly that evil only respects one thing: unyielding strength. When I'm back in the White House, our enemies will know if you spill a drop of American blood, we will spill a gallon of yours.
President Trump, the strength we need to make America strong.
Yeah.
Look at that piece.
Yeah. We're dropping peace all over you, suckers.
Yeah, we're dropping peace in the form of 500-pound ordinances. We're from a drone.
Yep. This piece is brought to you by Boeing, brought to you by McDonnell Douglas. See ya.
It's he brings up the Iran thing. He brings up the false idea they're playing into their hands again like we were before. They want to get Iran, which Bolton has talked about doing like this, which here's the video from years ago at the southern countries that they've been wanting 20 years.
About 10 days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the joint staff who used to work for me, and one of the generals called me and he said, "Sir, you got to come in and talk to me a second." I said, "Well, you're too busy." He said, No. He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, "We're going to war with Iraq. Why?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I guess they don't know what else to do." So I said, "Well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda?" He said, No. He says, "There's nothing new that way. They just made the decision to go to war with Iraq." He said, "I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we've got a good military and we can take down governments." And he said, "I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail." So I came back to see him a few weeks later, and by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, "Are we still going to war with Iraq?" And he said, "Oh, it's worse than that." He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, and he said, I just got this down from upstairs, meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today, and he said, "This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran."
Bomb them, right? Memory. We're talking down to you, John. Bomb Iran, buddy. He wants the living memory of John McCain and trying to bomb everything into making the Middle East a parking lot for the newest Walmart, maybe the newest Trump hotel.
Yeah, after the shooting, immediately before the blood dried, it was already Iran did that.
Yep.
Couple weeks later, Iran assassinations. Iran for the next couple weeks. They're ginning up war, even though they kept us out of war. Well, if he wins, he will win. He will be a lame ducker. He'll bomb the crap out of Iran. Why not? What are you going to do about it? Not vote him in the next time? Yeah. He was already drone bombed more people than Obama did. And we did already went into other governments and changed them up while he was under his reign. Nothing different happened. Wars didn't end. No new wars started. Wars didn't end either.
Yeah, which is why the way they'll get around this too with Trump is that when he's installed or when he is Enoch sighting, ladies and gentlemen.
I sent him the link. I don't know.
We're just going to keep this up so it can actually be the first time Enoch's been a part of the show in weeks. So that way we're just going to keep that comment up just so we can have you there, buddy. What was I saying? I completely lost my train of the way they're going to get around it is when Trump wins in November 5th, they'll start a war in Taiwan. They'll start some ruckus in Iran. Just so those have already started. So Trump won't start them, like you said, Steve. He won't start them, but he'll keep them going, right? He'll continue the hostilities between the two, but that way he'll be able to say, I didn't start any wars. I finished them, but I didn't start them. So that way he can keep his record, and the deep state will be able to keep their wars up, and he gets to keep his record clean.
You think George Carlin, we love war. War loving people. It's our favorite thing to do. It's
bombing brown people. That's what we do. People. We bomb brown people.
Quote unquote,
your country's got a bunch of brown people. You better watch the blank out.
Conservatives love war. They want to bomb. They got the military. You got the F-16 flybys. You got the military anthem. They call it the war anthem, the national anthem. That's what it is. I mean. People want to go out there. There's the Toby Keith, red, white, and blue. We're gonna put a boot up here. You know what? Because it's the American way. Because they want to get after Iran. They're wanting. There's war in Taiwan wanting to get down. Russia's threatening right now. There's a lot of things that you go to antiwar.com, you'll see a ton of what's going on overseas right now. We've been bombing Yemen for the last how many weeks? Israel, the genocide that's going on over there. What do you think DJT is going to keep doing? Continue. He's not going to stop. Let's not kill the children. Wait a minute. I thought pro-lifers were for not killing kids. It's those kind of kids. We can kill them.
I'm sorry. I have to mention this since you just mentioned Israel. We're not going to play it, but there was they released one Israeli hostage. It was a woman. Her and her boyfriend got abducted by the Hamas. And they released her, so she had a rave. And so there's all these photos online, her in the scantily clad outfit, dancing around with a bunch of guys. And then the bottom, it's like, yeah, her boyfriend's still captured. So I don't know if they're going to have a really strong relationship when he gets out. But of course, Enoch will have you back. I mean, I can't stand hanging out with Steve, just to be honest with you. I need you here, buddy. I need you here. So it's just about. Oh, wait, I say that out loud. My fault.
Volume of your voice.
But the fact is, you're right, Steve. I had never even heard of antiwar.com. I just checked it out. That's
it's a great site.
That's pretty scary, actually, when you actually look at all of the things. And yeah, if you've never heard about the war in Yemen, the blockade that we have been sponsoring, and the genocide in Yemen that we have been doing for the Saudis since Obama, right? Since the Obama administration. It's been absolutely destructive there.
If no one ever been to the site, I mean, it's just for today. It's kind of like Drudge Report, except for
it's the Drudge Report with bombs.
Yeah, with bombs. Throw that in there. I mean, Ukraine complains about escalation. Houthis allow towering a damaged oil tanker. Israeli launches major assault on West Bank. Biden new Gaza appear and determined aid efforts. It's a ton of info these guys keep up with. They break it down. Here's Ukraine, Russia, France, Poland, UK, Israel, Gaza. They have a section off for you, so it's easier to find. But
so whatever war you're looking for, they'll find it. Yes. Look at this. Ukraine strikes 2 more oil depots deep into Russian territory. They're going to get everybody nuked.
You didn't see that
on everybody nuked.
You didn't see that on local news or anything like that? They didn't talk about that? No?
It must have been sandwiched between the puppy adoption and the weather. I must have missed that.
Yes,
Don't get me wrong. I
All
love
the hurricanes
puppy
are. We're at 25 hurricanes supposed to be at. Right now we're at 4. We got a lot of ramping up to do.
Well,
But
today
yeah,
is the anniversary of Katrina, so you'll hear a lot of climate change about that.
oh yeah. Well, the coolest thing that we have in Charlotte is we named our mascot after the Hurricane Hugo from 1988. So
I love Americans. I love it. What caused death and destruction? Our mascot. It's cool. Don't worry about
Hugo,
it.
dude,
Yeah.
Hugo. Hey, have the Saints call their mascot Katrina.
That's like the Houston Texans naming their mascot Harry after the hurricane that sat over there and filled it up like a bowl a couple years ago. But yes, that's your political fix right there, folks.
Well,
Check out.
Here's Brandon. He's doing
with Beach, Delaware. You get kind of a back shot of the president there, enjoying the sun last couple of days of summer. I want to hear both of you get your response to what Senator Vance just laid out. But let's start here, Mark. For years, Kamala Harris was an advocate of very specific green energy mandates.
In full disclosure, I don't care if he sits on the beach the rest of his life or rest of the year. If he would have sat there all 4 years, not on
we would actually, time. We would actually prefer a president to do that.
But the thing is, don't take vacations on taxpayer dimes. Don't do promotion stops on taxpayer dimes. That should be out of your own money. But that goes back to our thinking of these guys as elected monarchs, and they want to be treated like that. When you shut down the roads when they're on a road or something like that, or you have to, all the smells and bells that they get with it. No. If you're for the people, if you're one of those, but hey, you work for us type deal things, you ain't going on vacation on our money. Then that's your pocket. That's why he's been in office for 50 some odd years.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point on all of that. The whole Air Force One, Air Force Two, and then you have Air Force One parked in Delaware, and then you've got whatever's flying Kamala around.
Yeah, Kamala's so she can campaign for that on her own money.
Yeah, no way. So it's beautiful, and both the RNC and DNC were paid by you. Either in the form of fundraising or grants or whatever the case may be. And this is what we like to call a smooth transition into the big controversy with Pro-Life Inc., who up until this week, the only channel, and I can back this up with receipts and so can Steve, that has called out Pro-Life Inc. was us. We were the only ones calling out, where was Pro-Life Inc.? Where were they when the woman in New York was jailed? All of these other things. And everybody else was like, oh, and then all of a sudden, Leela Rose, you did the one thing you shouldn't have done. You stepped to the king. If you had shut your face, and I don't mean this to you, I'm just saying it colloquially, if that's the right way. If you had just kept your mouth shut and just, bent the knee like every other major Catholic influencer has done, most of them have, by the way. Your favorite Catholic influencer has bent the knee to Trump, which is why the reaction to Leela was so swift and vicious. If she had kept her mouth quiet, she'd be fine. But she stepped to the king, and now everybody's coming after
her. The electricity and the pro-life movement. He's saying he's actually calling on Congress to send him an abortion ban on late-term abortion. He's actually asking that from Congress. He's saying that the Democrats are extreme on abortion. They're even till post-birth abortion, infanticide. He's saying they cannot speak for themselves. The unborn cannot speak for themselves. And I just want to encourage the Trump campaign to go back to that Trump. People want a fighter. People want someone who's not going to bow to the establishment and bow to the Beltway pollsters and consultants, someone who's not going to waffle and run and hide, someone who's not going to be controlled by the false media narratives. That's what people want right now. That's not what Trump is, for whatever reason, delivering right now. In fact, he's trying to sound like a Democrat on abortion. And the response from the pro-life community right now is crucial. I'm encouraging Trump to get out there and fight for life. And I want to encourage the pro-life community right now. We are 2 months, a little over 2 months out before the election. Minds are still being made up. Candidates are still shape-shifting in many ways. Positions are being shifted and changed. I urge all pro-lifers to come out right now and say, President Trump, stand for life. President Trump, if you want the pro-life vote, fight for life. That's not called voter suppression, my friends. That's called voter encouragement. That's called encouraging voters to do what their job is, to demand what they need and they want from their candidate, from candidates. You know, the pro-life vote is not owned. Nobody owns the pro-life vote. The pro-life vote is earned. And you don't earn the pro-life vote by throwing it under the bus.
You
by
earn it by spending
listening
money.
to whatever pollsters are lying to you or media narratives are lying and throwing the babies under the bus. You earn the pro-life vote, and I would say the respect even of the middle moderates, and I would even argue the respect of your average Joe by getting up there and saying, I'm going to fight for what I believe in, for what is good and true. I'm going to fight for the lives of children. I'm going to fight for families. I'm going to fight for you. And so what President Trump should say specifically, I believe, is what he's said in the past. I will fight for life. I will fight for babies. They have no one to defend themselves. They have no one to speak for them. I will help speak for them. That he will sign any pro-life legislation that crosses his desk as president, including the pro-life legislation that he used to ask Congress for back in the day. He used to ask Congress to send pro-life legislation to him. So instead of saying he would veto it, or Vance saying for him that he'll veto it, he should say he will sign any pro-life law that passes his desk. And he should say that he will fight against the abortion expansion of the Democrats. He will fight against the abortion industry that is hell-bent on killing and taking innocent human life. And he should say that he will use his executive branch to do everything in his power to fight for babies, to fight for children, to fight for the American family, and to make America a more welcoming place to bring human life into the world. That's going to be the winning message that will not just galvanize the pro-life base, but I think earn respect that Trump is a fighter. He's a maverick. He will do what's right.
All right.
All right. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
Go ahead. Age before beauty.
Anyway. Sneaky. Where are you in this fight, Leela? $14 million has been raised by pro-life, by Live Action. Now they come out and they say, well, we make videos and we make promotional stuff. $14 million, you could have donated that. Actually, no, that's fine. You can make your videos. Why don't you make videos highlighting each individual state's races? Where are your videos highlighting the 9 states right now that have abortion on the ballot? Where is that? No, it's all about DC. Always been about DC, just like the rest of your Catholic commentators have abandoned any sort of principle to worship at the feet of the MAGA movement. That is a 100% fact. These people who've been screaming about federalism now don't want federalism. And if you look at my channel, The Armed Catholic, I have been talking about federalism in the face of the 2A community. They don't like the fact that I say, hey, you got to, if California doesn't do gun laws, or they do gun laws and Texas doesn't, that doesn't bother me. It's always 2A all the way every day. Same thing now with abortion, guys. You had a gift. It was given to you by Roe, by Dobbs. It was like, hey, back to the states you go. And it was honestly, the pro-life movement stomped its feet and crossed its hands and said, well, I'm not going to do this at the local level. I'm not going to vote for it. Trump needs to have a national ban. We need to have murder's a national issue. Murder is also a local issue, you morons. Do you not realize that murder is also on the local law level? So just imagine this for those people who use and I'm calling out TJMO, who made the statement of, well, murder is a federal issue. Imagine if the federal government was in charge of investigating every single murder that ever happened across these United States. When you think about it, do you understand how stupid your position is? When the fact that the feds will not investigate every single murder that takes place in Texas or in North Carolina or in Montana, that's up to the local police in Texas and the local police in North Carolina and the local police in Montana. But no, when it comes to that type of thinking, all of you jettison it and you go, Trump, save us. When Trump, yes, he did a good thing where he mentioned third trimester abortion in 2016, and he did what he said he was going to do. He got it removed at the local level. So what? He doesn't want to sign a national abortion ban. That's actually, guess what, folks? A 10th Amendment thing. That's a 10th Amendment thing he's doing right there. But all of you are too busy stomping your feet and trying to get your clickbait in by rambling and screaming, how dare he do this? And Leela, you got to come out. How dare he do this? Where have you been while Pro-Life Inc. is getting the doors blown off it at every single local level? You've been at galas. You've been fundraising. You've been making a very high quality video in a very nice studio. And if you actually look at how Live Action and probably most of the other big pro-life movement organizations, most of the money you goes to salary. It goes to salaries. And it is an understanding that if abortion was to go away, Leela would have to find a new job. And so would, and guess what? I'm not going to, if the Second Amendment, if it went back to the states, FPC, Federal Policy Coalition, GOA, they'd all have to find other jobs too. So understand, when these people are fighting for your rights, they're also fighting for their jobs. End of speech.
No, yeah, just because, like we said before, I mean, Daily Wire and those guys, Fox News, CNN, MSNBCs. I know everyone loves the Daily Wire guys. Do they talk about? I don't know if do they go over talk about overseas or anything like that? They talk European news, South American news. Guess why? Because they consider that foreign. So if everything's decentralized now, I mean, I consider Montana a foreign country. If we get back into that mindset, which we should, those guys don't exist because there's no one nation myth anymore. That's what they are. It's a centralized. I had an argument with a friend of mine who's a smart guy, and he's stupid on this because he goes, "Oh, we need a federal law." Well, I thought, well, this Dobbs brought it back to the states. You can end everything at the state level like that. Well, we can't do that at the state level because states are corrupt. You tell me the feds are corrupt
as compared to the federal government.
You want the feds to do it? Well, they should do it because of natural law. Well, so is the states. No, you can't do it at the states because they're so. And this guy rants about how corrupt the federal government is. Like, what are you talking about? Pick one. What do you want? Do you eliminate the states? Fine, great. You're now a commie, just like the rest of them. That you want to eliminate the state borders. You want the French Revolution. Basically, the end of that centralization in total. So forget about the states. You now live in the United States of America. Forget about you have constitutions in each state, which you do. Forget about that. The trigger laws worked, all done by Protestants, pretty much. And now, like Leela says in her thing, she's like, we got to get ready for that vote because, Trump. We brought it up last week. It's barely got any views on Rumble. I don't know why. It's like exponentially down for some reason. But 7 states are looking to enact their state constitution.
Isn't it 9?
9 total are on it. Florida, it's 9 states have abortion on the bill. 7 are trying to enact it as a state.
I got you. So 9 has something to do with abortion, right. But 7, gotcha. Okay.
Right. Because Florida's on it, and they're not trying to enshrine it. They're trying to limit it more. Where that's why I showed the video of her coming out saying, hey, we got the chosen Jesus guy on. You haven't talked about the 7 states. None of them do. I mean, hey, you guys want to raise $14 million? Great.
Yeah,
I'd create a school if I had $17 million, and some religious orders I'd be dealing $1 million to for that. Just there's nothing's going on. I mean, there's still 7 states right now, and not a peep from LifeSite, Live Action, anything that's live, anything. I remember someone made a comment.
That much money to cut a 30-second commercial and throw it onto airwaves in those 9 states.
This is just part of the lunacy here. You seen this? Trump would rather gain pro-choice votes than retain anti-abortion votes. People have actually said, now again, you know where we stand. You know where I definitely stand. I do not care about DJT or Kamala or Clinton or Obama or just name your want to be authoritarian. But this is idiotic. And so their people are upset. Trump wants voters in each state to decide on their own state abortion laws. Again, as Rick said, 10th Amendment, this is over. You end every culture war problem at the state level tomorrow. You lose every culture war battle in the federal, if you federalize it. You look, hey, gay marriage, guess what happened? They federalized that. You get that out, you end it.
Guess what? Real quick, Steve, not to interrupt you again. They federalized gay marriage. There was buildings full of lawyers whose lives were dedicated to getting gay marriage legalized. Once it happened, they had nothing to do. Guess what they did, guys? Once they did it, straight to transgenderism.
Yep.
Notice how transgenderism shot up once Obergefell went into law, because those lawyers had to do something, because you didn't fight for it and just squash it at the local level.
And yes,
I'm sorry, Steve,
is it utopia I did? No. Your state government probably is corrupt. Guess what? Get off your freaking keisters and get involved. That is the one thing I thought, what are we going to do? Well, here's a novel idea. Why don't we get involved? You telling me there's not, let's just pick a number, 20. Let's say there's not 20 good Catholics in the state of, let's just pick a state, Kansas, that could run for state house, state governor. There are not 20 Catholics that can run for the gubernatorial seat in Kansas or Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, wherever, or people running in their state legislatures. We don't have, say, 100. None? No, none of I guarantee if we have some retarded thing come up, we're going to get 50 people show up for it. Or if we talk about the Pope, we're going to get 50 people get upset about it. There's nobody that could run for a state house or again, people will probably go, Steve, well, why don't you do it? Okay, that's one. I'm also renting, and I don't know if I'm going to be in South Carolina or Florida in a year or two because I'm still moving, trying to figure out where we're going to stay. But if you live in an area and you're upset about what's going on, what works better? Tweeting? Oh man, this would do it. Or
guys, even if you can't run, go to the meetings.
Find somebody that can run. Encourage others to run. There's people that are probably bright right now that could run. Something like that. You get in and you fix your state. Guess how you convert your state? The same idea. It's somebody brought up, well, what we need is to convert the entire land. All right, genius, can you do? You haven't done it to your state. You haven't done it to your road. You're wanting to take the entire map and convert it to Catholicism in a week. You haven't done your neighbor. You haven't gotten your road done. You haven't gotten your town done. Our plan magically is to convert it like this. Doing what? Tweeting? Getting mad? What? What's the plan? No one has a plan. Oh, we just vote hard. You're one vote. You're one single vote. Check. That'll do it. I'm done. That's the mindset. If you want the whole will it thing. It's like, you want to make a team. How do you do it? You practice hard. You eat well. You sleep good. You practice. You get involved. You got to get on a practice squad to make a team. You got to do this. You got to get in the community in a sense. You don't just beat abortion by not leaving your house, not talking to other people, not influencing other people, things like that. You have to get involved somehow. Yeah, people don't get into politics. All right, stop complaining. You should, if you say you shouldn't get involved, don't complain. Just live in your little section. When they come after you, don't worry about it, because eventually it will, because you didn't want to do anything and you don't care. But they will care when there's that whole idea of you might not care about the war, but the war cares about you. But number 2 on here, Trump will protect access to birth control and IVF. Not a cool thing. Wait a minute, that's not a power of the executive. If you look at the executive on any website, the White House or government, whatever, you look at, type in powers of the executive. I am pretty sure that IVF and birth control is not on that list. War, maybe some trade overseas, things like that. Pardons, electing Supreme Court. Oh, you might get me on the Supreme Court. Okay, someone's going to be Supreme Court. I will then counter with, all right, we're a government judiciary. So you want 9 unelected tyrants. That's your legislative branch, which again, as we talked about last week, Supreme Court is number 1, executive's number 2, Congress is the long number 3, when it should be Congress number 1, executive number 2, and the SCOTUS should be a low number 3. But no, that's not how we are right now. Number 3, Trump opposes late-term abortion when the life of the mother is not in danger, opposes forced taxpayer funding abortion. Is that a problem? Trump won't sign a federal abortion ban. Again, what Rick said, 10th Amendment. That's Dobbs literally says this is the power of the states. But yet we end Roe, getting it back to the states, which what the pro-lifers have been yapping about for how many decades, and it goes back to the states, and now pro-lifers are, no, we need to go back to we need to federalize it, we need to centralize it again because reasons. You're just going to get Roe 2.0 out of this, and you can't swing a dead cat online without seeing somebody go, oh, how's that a pro-life stance? Do you want to end it or not? You just want a constitutional amendment. All right, how do you get through that? You got to get 2/3 of the states to vote on that. You got to propose it. You got to get 2/3. You're wanting to go with not to use a derogatory term, like a Hail Mary pass. That's your plan? Here's the blueprint to win right now. You get it at the states. Done. You can have that bad boy done by Christmas or next week, whatever. Depends on if you have a good state house right now or not. But no, we want the fairy tale pipe dream of getting the federal government, who's ran by angels apparently, to come out with a federal ban. Pass the hookah pipe. That is delusional at best, hopium at worst. I saw another channel, and so I told Rick about it. Hey, I jumped on and I said, hey, you guys smoking hopium today? It's idiotic. Because we're so in debt in this centralized mindset. Federal government's got to be able to do everything. Federal government this, federal government that. There's the local news. We'll have it on there. It's about talking about we'll break down the federal the things that go on in DC that affect your neighborhood. You know what should affect your neighborhood out of DC? Nothing. There should be nothing that comes out of DC that directly affects you right there. It's like going online and go, hey, the Pope sneezed today or said something off the cuff or whatever. I'm all triggered right now. That should never happen. One, you should be focused on so much of what you're doing in your life and that you're not paying attention. Like someone's posting up about the Vatican putting BCE in some document. If it weren't for Twitter, I would never have known that. And I'm still looking at it going, how does that make or break me today? Am I supposed to be what am I supposed to do with that? Okay, that's not cool. Okay. Apparently the translation is a little bit different in French and so they're wrong on the English translation. Still, we're going to get triggered over BCE. What? Something goes down like this. All right, they come out, J.D. Vance on an interview. We're not doing a federal ban. Okay, that's fine. We're adopts. Shouldn't need it anyways. But Pro-Life Inc. and the rest of the people right there are so Lincolnian-minded that the feds are the only thing that can do any good in the world. And please tell me one time that they have done anything good in your life, our lives, or anybody else's life. Everyone else says that if the federal government goes down, it will be a great joy and great increase to the life of society for the planet. But no, we're expected to get a federal ban out of, pull a monkey out of our you-know-whats. And that's going to come up, and that's the plan. That's Pro-Life Inc.'s plan. Wow, pro-death is all about Dobbs right now. Hey, and like we said about state rights, getting the states to do it. Mary Jane supporters, perfect example. They got the states to go on with marijuana. Most states have okayed it. Many more are still putting up. I think North Carolina is putting medical marijuana up for them to vote now. And I'm not pro pothead, but you see it's that line from the gospel: the children of the dark are more sly than the children of light. These guys are using what we should be doing. And if we had the zeal. St. Augustine's feast day yesterday. He has that line of the heretics are zealous when the Catholics are lazy. That's darn right, darn tootin', as we say down here. The guys that are against us are more zealous. They're going out there and getting all these states involved right now. 7 states about to do it in November. What are we doing? Nada. We're sitting back going, the face of Pro-Life Inc. is out there saying we need Trump to do this. We need Trump to come out and say he's the pro-life. We need Trump. What the heck does Trump have? Zero authority. That's that line from I can't remember that movie. That's 0.0. That's the number of authority that he has on this. He could come out saying, look, hypothetically, he could come out and say, I want to kill them all. You know what that means? It means nothing. J.D. Vance could say that. You know how much power the VP has? Nothing.
We're being reminded of that right now because Kamala says she can't do anything. That's why I need to elect her, because she can't do nothing.
Ben Stiller.
Just a quick question: why you came, and what you like about Harris' platform? And
just very excited about moving forward, and all the energy and excitement that's around this movement right now. So that's why I'm here, because it's time for change, and it seems like it's happening.
Do you think she'll be able to sustain the momentum post-convention?
For sure.
You think the race is going to be close?
It's going to be close, but everybody's motivated to work and make it happen. So, and she and Tim Walz are just.
But why male models?
It's time for a change from the current administration to the current administration. They think you're stupid. I mean, these.
No, they don't think. Steve, half the population is stupid. Half the American population is stupid. Sorry, folks. 50% of the people think Kamala is going to be a great change for these United States. That's why they swapped her out. The cackler,
I'm just throwing you bring up people are stupid. I'm just bringing the schools are closing over to sniffles again.
Yeah. As Triple E, which has been around for years, makes a violent comeback to all of it. So it's absolutely just laughable that people are still.
It's really
it's not, because they're locked into the red versus blue syndrome, which is why you have.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's why you have so many people have they've chosen a side, and their side is Trump.
Bill Kaufman brings up he's got a lecture from 12 years ago on localism, and he mentions how gets back to the thing of, I can call my mayor right now. I can call my mayor, call my state representative, email, do whatever. They'll get back to you. You call them, they'll pick up. You'll get their office list. They'll call you back. You call your state representative. Can you call your federal representative? Hey, even states, depending on the state, you can do this. In some states, like California, have way too many things. I sent this. McClanahan has a video on "Is America Too Big?" I think California said it like 400,000 representatives in there. Nowhere near the level for representation in there. Other states have maybe less than 1,000, depending on which state it is. Alabama's not too bad in the ratio. You look at DC, it's 800 or 900,000 to 1. How's that representation? It's not. So, I mean, yes.
The only state that gets close to it is New Hampshire.
Yeah, New Hampshire, way great. It's really good in that representation. It's a great number.
Yeah.
This is an easy solution. It's a simple solution, but we got to get it through our heads. You got to drop that one nation garbage. Never say the pledge ever again in your life. If you do right now, why? It's a socialist communist mindset that want this centralized authority in your lives. It's coming from the French Revolution. But here's some things that people are doing. Anyway, Kaufman brings up centralization gets you. He says Lady Gaga. I updated it to say Taylor Swift, because in local communities, you do what? You're around your neighbors. You're in your towns. Maybe there's a guy in your city or town that's great at music. So you guys are all focused on him, and you love this guy. You love that type of music. But no, centralization gets that one big thing. You get that Big Trick Pony show, Taylor or Gaga or NSYNC or Backstreet Boys. Nobody lives in your town, but this is what the TV's telling you, or this is what they say you gotta love. You gotta love the national limelight. You gotta love this. And he mentions about like how Rachel Madcow, the 12-year-old boy on MSNBC. And he brings up Rush Limbaugh at the same time. He goes, both two different sides, but both will tell you should hate, and they hate the other side. So the guy that doesn't think the way you are, could be your neighbor, you should hate him. And instead of seeing the other person as a person, hating the image and likeness of God, by the way. Like if you bring up Rick brought up the thing about going to your meetings and going to your town halls. So you now see that other person. Say he's a gay transvestite. I'm picking something. Are you going to go up?
Just pulling from a very specific example, just
throwing that out there. But do you go up there? You got this mindset. Oh, I hate these guys. Or do you go point your finger up him and tell him he's a low-life piece of scum? Or do you talk to him like a human being? And that's the big difference between centralization and all this central. You go on Fox right now, CNN right now. They're going to tell you the other team sucks. They're stupid. They're ignorant people. They're Hicksy. Whatever the adjective is, don't like those people. You talk about split. It's not just the politics of split. It's the TV. They get you man on man against each other because they don't think like we're getting paid to do this because we got to get the eyeballs. We got to get in, kick on the emotion levels. No, you go to a town hall, there ain't none of that there. There's some people that try to act out because they know they're getting videotaped and then they'll put it up online, like that lady up in was it New Mexico, I think it was. It's Arizona. You're my First Amendment. You're talking to the mayor. 1A, which says Congress shall not do. Congress shall not do. That's DC, right? Congress shall not. That's not the mayor of Sunrise, Arizona shall not do, but we've incorporated everything like Rick's talked about 2A. So 2A is everything. And no matter if Rick tells me that I can't have a gun. Oh, you're violating my Second Amendment. No, shut up. That's not that.
Every time a kid wears a t-shirt to school and they tell him to go home, that's clearly a violation of your First Amendment right. There's a First Amendment right issue. I'll give you the Tucker face. Huh? Really?
It's a mindset people don't know. It's really hard. It's radical in a sense because you haven't thought this way. But you can win every culture war if you go with the state level federalism. Kevin Gutzman, Dr. Gutzman has a great line. Federalism works, and we had to try to enact it once. Because really, we haven't even tried it until maybe the weed guys did. Pornhub, they did a pretty good job on it. You guys see this?
It actually was tried way back, with drugs in California when they were like, we're not just going to enforce federal law. And federalism is working to this. It worked under Trump because California was like, we're not deporting any of these guys who come here. We're just not going to do it. We're just not going to do it.
Notification is like we brought up. Notification is couples counseling and marriage counseling, and secession is leaving. Speaking of which, Illinois has got a separation referendum going on. They're wanting to break away from Chicago. Hey, what a concept. You're being ruled by Chicago. Get out of it. Here's Texas.
There should be, and I know I only heard this because I heard this on Timcast last night. The western part of Maryland, which is essentially West Virginia, has been trying to get out of Maryland for a while. It should literally be this. The town comes together, votes, and says, we, the city of Western Maryland, have decided to leave Maryland and we're joining West Virginia. West Virginia has said they will accept. Goodbye. The state that is being left from Illinois should have no say in what the bottom part of Illinois wants to do. Chicago should have no say in what the bottom portion of Illinois. The western part of the eastern part of Oregon should be able to join Idaho. Portland should have no say on that. It should just be a vote. As long as the accepting party, as long as the state you're going to accepts, that's it. See ya. It's like a breakup. See ya. Bye bye.
That's what we joked about last week. Is John 69 verse 7? There shall be only 50 states in these United States. If you want to keep the union together, all right. How about 100? Kaufman brings up 100 because he's a liberal in New York, upstate New York, and is tired of being ran by New York City. Here's Louisiana. They just started an idea to break away. As they said, we don't want to remain in part of a union that's ruled by Californians and New Yorkers. What a novel concept.
Yeah, so it's crazy.
Yeah. You got New Hampshire wanting to do it, Texas doing it. There'll be more doing it. And guess what? There's somebody came back with a thing about Louisiana is upset about the slave thing. That wasn't the context of it. It was like 10 years ago, 8 years ago, something like this. Oh, you're going to bring back slavery. They bring up Stephen Douglas. They bring up the slave. They go, again, it's an emotional appeal. Stupid. The war was not about slaves at all. It was forcing a union to keep together. Right? You celebrate July 4th. Happy Secession Day. But you also, at the same time, it's our mindset is just all over the charts. Oh, well, we don't like breaking away. We must have USA. And then we got to get rid of the state borders. And we got to get rid of this because you can only listen to everybody. Why do you have a governor then? Why do you have a state constitution? Why do you have people at your local? Why do you have a mayor? Just get rid of all of them. And then you can have Brandon or Kamala tell you how to think and live. Yep. That's basically what we want. And we want our king. This is really.
We just want somebody else to deal with it so we can Netflix and Domino's.
Yeah.
That's really all it is. We just want
Because
to
again, if you go the other way, it's a little bit harder. Yes. Food wise, they have this. What's his face? Revenge Rap comes out with a video about all the acres that are owned by the big dogs like Gates and things like that. Well, yeah, it's it's hard, or is growing your own food. You go to the grocery store, you get sprayed, you get cancerous stuff on the sprays. So, apples are going to be number one, strawberries, and they don't taste as good. But you complain about it. What can you do? You can keep going back, or you can do something about it. Again, or homeschooling. I mean, people hate, I'm not sending my kid to a school. I secede from the idea that I should take my kid and take it to a state-run school. I do not want to submit to that poor ideal. We remove ourselves from the table. We're going to do our own thing, which works. Same idea. I mean, it's that, look, but it's going to be hard. It will be hard. It's supposed to be hard. But like you said, it's easier just to say, I voted for my Trump and I'm done, or I voted for whoever.
I pulled the lever, so all the Republicans down line got voted for. See ya.
I'll blame the other guy if it doesn't happen, even though you're in a state, Brian, that's what's going to happen. And then you go, oh, my vote matters. No, it doesn't. It's in the federal level, your vote matters probably by 0.00000005, maybe rise, uprating that one. Your local though, that matters. Nobody cares about it. Most people, you go through your state elections, most people run unabated 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. No one even knows who they are, even though they could be living across the street from you. But no one cares.
I mean, ironically enough, that's how AOC actually got in.
Yes.
Is that her person had run so many times that they were like, hey, there's this plucky little Latina girl who's running against you. And he's like, it ain't going to matter. People are going to vote for me anyway.
And she went door to door. Got personal with people.
And she only won, I think only like 19,000 people out of the district voted in the primary. So the people that she knocked on doors with actually knew Steve that there was a primary happening. So they came out and did it. Unlike the guy who was in office, he was like, yeah, don't worry. He was probably betting nobody would show up, and whoever did would just be like, oh, he's the guy. So, we'll just check the mark. It's not hard, especially when they get lazy.
When I ran 2010, I don't know what I was doing. I just did it. I did it. We had the most draw of all the districts in the seat houses, seat 75. And I mean, I lost by 300 votes or something like that. I mean, I was an idiot. I had no reason, if they would have voted me in, there would have been idiots to do that. But I knew I said the things that people wanted to hear on that. Decentralization. This is not just my first year of thinking stuff this way. I was, people down there, we're all about decentralization down here in the South. So, things like that, getting rid of, centralized ideas. It's resonated for decades down here. If other people can figure that out, we can make some incredible strides.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, people want to cite 1776. Like, oh, it's going to be 17. All right, let's take that. I'm not calling for 1776. YouTube, don't ban us. But what's the famous thing? The 3%ers. Only 3%, the thing, 3% were for, 3% were against, and kind of like the rest were just in the middle. They didn't even care. If you take the same logic, instead of getting violent with the 3%, be a 3%er that runs for your local office and that gets the rest of the people involved. And make it a reason to come out and vote for you instead of just present solutions at the local level. People are ready for them. People are, with what's happening in Colorado with the Venezuelan gangs and the stuff in New York with the immigration that's overflowing, the issues that are happening here in Texas with schooling and all these other kinds of things. People are ready. They're willing to listen. People aren't told any better because of a bad school system, bad catechization by Fox News or whatever, Daily Wire outlets. And if you talk to people, you can get them to at least acknowledge there's a potential for a different way forward. And once they're open to it, it's all good.
Here's an example of going the other way. Oregon voters consider approving nation's first universal basic income. What? That's on Oregon.
And the left knows how to knock on doors. You make fun of them as lazy and all this other stuff. They know how to knock on doors. They know how to mobilize. Even if it's us people from other states, they know how to organize, how to do it. So
If you want to read it, there's one from I think it's 2010. Kaufman, American First is to blame. He has a great line. He goes, back then it was, do we care more about Baghdad than we care about our own backyards?
Yeah.
And anyway, bye Miss American Empire. It's again, this is going through. He's not a war guy. But he gets into how glorious would it be if we just saw states even breaking up and getting back to, realistic areas. Is that nuts? Again, that's not, some kind of Rush Limbaugh fan. It's bloated. Everything's bloated right now. Cut the fat. When you get fat, there's more cancer chances. And where are we at? We're fat. He brings up, why should Vermont or Kansas or Mississippi be compelled by strangers in Washington to implement computer chips in its cattle and send its state militia, now known as the National Guard, to fight in overseas wars and register its firearms and subject its children to standardized tests and participate in federal farm programs that privilege corporations, agribusiness? Aren't Vermonters, guided by their intimate knowledge of local conditions, capable of fashioning their own laws or non-laws on such matters? That's a novel. People don't even think that way. It's like, well, if DC does, we'll have to do it. That mindset, not his. Our current mindset will get you into the WHO telling you how to live.
Yeah, but we've been trained to go for the big solution, right? We've been trained to go for that. As we've said time and time again, we've been trained to go, oh, well, big pharma. Yeah, we need the jab schedule, even though it's increased tenfold. Or we need to go with the stuff at the supermarket because we've lost the skill on how to grow it. Every convenience, I've said it before in the show 100 times, every convenience gain is a skill lost. And we're so many generations removed, so many conveniences, technological advancements, folks, so many technological advancements have come to a point that the skill level, your great-great-grandmother and grandfather's skill, they would look at you and go, how do you even survive? You don't know how to cook. You don't know how to build anything. You don't know how to do any of this stuff. And so it's part of the problem is that we are a comatose population, a population that's hooked on the IV of convenience. And folks, I can sit down and watch I can binge watch an entire season of a show better than anybody else with a big Domino's pizza. I can do it. All right. I'm not trying to talk down to anybody because, first of all, being a tiny guy, it's hard. And secondly, I'm just as susceptible to it than probably any of you. So it's a problem we're all fighting, except Steve, who's growing dragonflies and commanding an army to destroy the mosquito population. But in all seriousness, at least he's doing something about it with his channels, and he's trying to get people to learn those skills back. And yes, the Catholic Land Movement, big shout out to those guys doing. There's going to be one up in the central United States, I think Indiana or whatever, in that area this weekend. If you can go check them out, they're on X somewhere on the X Twitter platform. They're doing a heck of a job trying to get people to learn the skills again. But we're so comatose that it's hard to get out of it. It is. I'm sorry. I'm not talking down to anybody because it is so hard to break out of especially guys, what's happening this weekend? College football's back, baby. College football's back. Say goodbye. And then a week after that, the NFL, which is even worse. At least college football, you went to the college there, you have some loyalty, whatever. NFL, the stupid thing that was going around on X, I'm giving you my 2 weeks notice, honey. Football season's back. What a bunch of lazy, fat, pathetic men. You see these men with these man caves, these shrines to these professional organizations that don't care about you. They laugh at you because you spent $10,000 to build this opulent cave to them. And they're like, whatever, dude.
I wanted one of those.
I might
have
had
coming out of college. I have my blueprints.
Guys, like I said, I've done it too. I used to be, when I was in the Northeast, the biggest Red Sox fan out there. I was Mr. Love That Dirty Water. I was that guy. So I'm speaking as a former addict, and it's going to be it's just, what are you going to do especially if you have kids? I don't have kids, but what are you people with kids? What are you going to do? You're going to sit there and take them to the game, or are you going to try and get them to a better place? I don't know, Steve. It's rant, and now I'm ranting. Now you got me ranting.
Anyway, just it's main ideas. Get the ideas out there. Ideas germinate. You can't kill ideas. So, you're going to go to Catholic places. You're going to go to other sites, which I told Rick about this. Someone emailed saying, I like you guys' stuff because you say stuff that no one else out there is saying, which that's good. It's also bad because I wish the other guys would say this, and then we probably wouldn't have to do it. I would enjoy it. Someone brought up Clown Planet. I haven't had time to do it just because of everything else going on. I'll be at the Charlotte Eucharistic Congress this weekend, which, as Rick said, is contradictory to the religion of the South, which is college football, because Clemson plays Georgia at noon. It's hard to get Anglos to come away from the TV. The Hispanic crowd would be great. It's always great at the Congress, but it's one of those. One of these days I'll get back to it. But yeah, it's just like this: learn, figure out, study on yourself. Don't take my advice or Rick's as gospel.
Definitely take my advice. Don't listen to him. Take my advice. Whatever.
But look it up. Go get the book Bye Bye Miss American Empire. Get Don Livingston's. Look, see if this is right or not, right or wrong. Is this work? And then again, look at all the evidence saying this does work, and this is what you're being told by people who don't like you. But the empire is going to die one way or the other. It's how what are we going to do between now and then?
Yeah, we're going to hang out on Wi-Fi.
Where spaces.
While we watch the downfall. And yeah, it is crazy in that regard. For all of that. Do we have anything? Did I miss anything, Steve? Do we have anything else? Or are we going to say another week? All right. Obviously, it's not going to be a shock to anybody that my cry room is all of Catholic conservative media. You know who they are. They all came out. Two reasons. First of all, they came out in defense of Trump and squashing and doing all this stuff, saying we have to vote for Trump. We have to vote for Trump. Second one, Catholic media guys. Again, in your pursuit of clicks and all of this other stuff, you had this happen yesterday. So everybody freaked out when he said this first part. Those who work it's a grave sin. Oh, can you believe the Pope said this? Oh, can you believe it? How many people has he taken into the Vatican? Let's fast forward. And he says, not that part. Hold on. Nope, not there. I'm a little more prepared than. Here we go. Facilitating, and no, he says it. Where does he say? He says, I'm actually kind of safe and legal entry routes for migrants. He's not calling for mass immigration. He's saying that open borders leads to people dying in the desert. Guess what, folks? You may not like the Pope, but he's right on that one. Okay. The illegal trafficking, because the border's wide open, and Catholic Charities is one of the first ones to do it, to facilitate people coming across the border. The abuse of children and the abuse of women that are happening down there is because of it. You can argue all you want about, the Pope shouldn't be saying this about immigration and blah, blah, blah. And you can cite the first part, I think, of Catechism, whatever it is, because I had it this morning. But the second part of the
CCC, whatever it is.
Yeah, I have it. Hold on. I have it. And so the fact of the matter is it's Catechism 2241. And everybody wants to try and dunk on the Pope, or the left tries to dunk on us with this first part where it says, come on, man, what are you doing? Oh, I'm on the wrong one.
Come on.
I know. I'm real hyped up. Hold on, guys. Give me a second. The ghost energy drink is actually hitting me pretty hard right about now, which is why I had to go for a couple minutes. But so Catechism 2241. Catechism 2241. Everybody tries to dunk on Catholics by saying this first part, the more prosperous nations should in fact take people in. Nobody looks at the last part where it says immigrants are obliged to respect with gratitude the material and spiritual heritage of the country that receives them, to obey its laws and assist in carrying out the civil burdens. Meaning, you don't just let them in. If they don't follow what you have as a country, you get to boot them out again. So But did anybody take the time besides me this morning on X? You can find my show. I did a 20-minute thing on this. Nobody took the time. You know what? All your favorite your favorite Catholic commentators did? Quote tweet. Oh, the Pope said something dumb again. Cry room, all of you. Ridiculous. Thousands of views. And all you're doing is spreading division and spreading and I'm not a Pope fan. I'm not a Pope defender, guys. Without the Pope, the armed Catholic doesn't exist. So just understand that in retrospective. But as a Catholic, I at least have to say, hey, don't fall for every single thing. Anyway, that's my cry room. Here is my saint of the week. It's Sly Stallone, baby.
In a really bad household. It was tough.
You had said that your mom was nervous to have you. She didn't want you,
Not at
right?
all. My mother would say, the only reason you're here is because the hanger didn't work. Or bouncing down those steps didn't cause you to get lost. You know, when you're young, you're kind of naive.
All right, we're probably going to get copyright on the rest of it, but that's it. Calling out and saying, hey, man, I'm only here because I survived. So another reason why we got to keep the fight for at the state level is, guys, you know, Sly Stallone bringing it to the front too, man. So that he's in my cry room. I mean, he's my saint of the week as well. So I'll take a deep breath.
You get some mimosa, not the mimosa drink. A mimosa tree helps in anxiety, nerves.
You got to send me one. You got to send me one, Steve. You got to send me.
Got two growing now. My saint of the week. So yeah, people heard about the Virginia incident with the kids and the lemonade. So,
I didn't.
No, what happened? These two kids up there were doing lemonade and stand. You'll see the video here. Man, guy drives up, runs out, grabs their jar, and takes off. I'm talking about scumbag, just steals from two kids. And it comes out the community found out about it, and literally they all showed up. There's him doing it, taking off. So everyone, their brother, heard about it and started coming in the next that weekend. Fire trucks, biker gangs, the whole 9 yards. They made just to support the kids and all this. Some guy stole a jar from kids. So the saint of the week is the local community, because again, we kind of push for local ideas and community in a sense. If you don't do that, then why bother having it? I had a quote. I thought I had a good quote up here. I must have accidentally clicked off it when I must have X'd out of it accidentally.
Boo.
Cry room. I'll go with.
Told you last week, the FDA has approved an updated version of the COVID-19 vaccine, which is better at targeting the current variants that are contributing to the summer surge. Well, now, just days after that approval, the vaccine is already showing up at Bay Area pharmacies, and people are stopping in to get protected. Front 4's Dan Kerman reports.
Anybody that falls for that, does that, throw that in the cry room. Just, hey, Operation Warp Speed is still going on. Yay!
Operation Triple E monkeypox.
Triple E.
So, all right. I guess that's gonna wrap it up for us, folks, for this episode of News from the Pew. Please like, subscribe, and share the News from the Pew. Thank you all so much, as we like to hang out with you every week. I'm Rick Barrett. That's Steve Cunningham, the godfather of Catholic YouTube. Thank you, Enoch, for hanging out with us for a couple minutes. God bless, and Viva Cristo Rey.
Imagine what